Before 2026 arrives, there's something you need to know. Something most people go their entire lives without realizing. You already carry 7 extraordinary gifts taught in Buddhism. Gifts that quietly shape your destiny but remain invisible until someone points them out. And the strange thing, you've been using these gifts for years without ever understanding their power. But once you see them clearly, your entire path forward, your choices, your peace, your purpose will feel completely different. This message didn't appear by chance. In Zen Buddhism, the right teaching finds you exactly when your awareness is ready to open. And if you're hearing this right now, it means something in you is preparing for a shift, a deeper understanding that wants to rise before the new year begins. Stay with this until the end, because the final gift reveals a truth most people overlook their entire lives. Miss it, and you miss the key that connects everything. Many people believe they need to transform before entering a new year, become stronger, wiser, more disciplined. But Buddhism teaches the opposite. You don't need to become someone new. You need to recognize the power that's already within you. These gifts have been shaped by your experiences, your struggles, your joys, and the quiet moments you rarely talk about. They're not lessons you must learn. They are strengths you've already earned. So pause for a moment. Let the noise of your thoughts settle, because what you're about to uncover is not a list of teachings. It's a mirror showing the truth of who you've always been. And once you understand these 7 gifts, stepping into 2026 will feel less like entering a new year and more like finally stepping into yourself. Let's begin. As you start reflecting more deeply, especially with a new year approaching, something powerful begins to shift inside you. Your mind stops moving with the crowd. It no longer reacts automatically to pressure, noise, or expectations. Your thoughts become clearer, more intense, and more observant, almost as if you're finally seeing beneath the surface of everything around you. Buddhism calls this the mind of awakening, the moment your awareness shifts from chasing life to truly understanding it. Slowly, you begin noticing connections that others overlook. A simple conversation, a past memory, a line from a book, a moment on the news. These pieces suddenly form a larger pattern. Where others see confusion, you see meaning. Where others hear noise, you hear signals. This isn't imagination. It's your perception sharpening. While many people race after trends, deadlines, and temporary goals, your mind starts moving toward deeper truth. Solutions come during quiet moments, during meditation, reflection, prayer, or simply sitting with your thoughts. Buddhist teachings say that clarity doesn't come from adding more to the mind, but from removing illusions. That is exactly what your mind has begun to do, shedding old beliefs and creating space for genuine insight. But this gift can feel heavy at times. Your thoughts don't silence easily. You notice the truth even when others prefer to ignore it. You sense what's real, even when it makes people uncomfortable. And sometimes this awareness feels isolating, like you're standing in a deeper understanding while the world rushes past on the surface. Yet in Buddhism, this feeling is actually a sign of elevation. An awakened mind doesn't move at the chaotic speed of the crowd. It moves with depth, calmness, and intention. This isn't a burden. It's the first sign that your inner vision is expanding. So if you've ever wondered why you think differently, question more, or feel disconnected from shallow conversations, understand this. It's not overthinking. It's not confusion. This restlessness you feel inside, the constant desire to understand why, is not chaos. It's power waiting for direction. And this awakened mind is only the beginning, because the next gift rising within you brings courage, clarity, and the strength to stand firmly in your truth. That second gift awakens next. As your awareness deepens, something inside you becomes absolutely unshakable. You stop tolerating what feels false. You can't pretend, can't swallow your truth, and can't quietly agree when your inner voice is whispering, "This isn't real." In Buddhism, this is known as right speech and right action, the sacred alignment where truth becomes a way of living, not just an idea. Your voice may remain calm, but your conviction grows sharper than ever. The moment something feels dishonest, harmful, or empty, you feel it instantly, like a tightening in your chest or a quiet shift in your intuition. You sense truth the way others sense temperature, effortlessly, automatically, unmistakably. You may have noticed that going along just to keep the peace has become harder than ever. Where you once stayed silent to avoid conflict, now you find yourself choosing honesty, even if it changes relationships, even if it creates distance, even if it means standing alone for a moment. Because your integrity is not a performance. It's your natural way of breathing. Your rebellion isn't loud. It's subtle, grounded, and unshakable. It's the quiet refusal to follow illusions. It's stepping away from empty routines, outdated expectations, and beliefs that no longer resonate. Some people may have called you too intense, too direct, or too unwilling to adjust. But what if that so-called stubbornness is actually awakening? The Buddha taught that freedom begins the moment courage outweighs conformity. And that is exactly what has been happening within you. Every act of honesty, every time you refused to shrink, every moment you chose what felt true over what felt convenient, none of these were accidents. They were signs of your integrity becoming sacred. You don't break old patterns to create chaos. You break them to release light. And when your awakened mind merges with this unwavering integrity, something extraordinary begins forming inside you, a deeper sensitivity, a quieter strength, a heart that feels more than it reveals. Let me ask you something gently. Have you ever sensed that your capacity to feel runs deeper than those around you realize? That your love extends beyond what is returned, beyond what is seen, beyond what is acknowledged? Buddhism teaches that compassion born from struggle becomes one of the most powerful forces in existence. And that is where the third gift begins to rise. As your inner awareness grows, your heart begins to transform in a remarkable way. It stops loving in narrow, guarded patterns and starts opening in a wide, gentle, unconditional flow. Buddhism calls this metta, a love that asks for nothing in return, a love that doesn't cling, doesn't negotiate, doesn't fear loss. It simply radiates outward naturally and effortlessly. You begin sensing the suffering of others even when no words are spoken, a stranger's exhausted expression, the hidden sadness in someone's smile, the quiet heaviness someone carries beside you. You feel it all with a soft, intuitive clarity. And you care deeply, even if you can't fix what they're going through, even if no one realizes the depth of your concern. This sensitivity doesn't make you fragile. It makes you a vessel for compassion, shaped through your own experiences. Because Buddhism teaches that the heart that has known pain becomes exquisitely capable of recognizing it in others. Your compassion is not weakness. It is wisdom expressed through love. You don't offer kindness for praise or attention. You don't give to be remembered. Your compassion rises because it feels impossible to withhold it. You show warmth, listen deeply, offer presence, and create space for others simply because your heart moves in that direction on its own. When the world feels cold, you instinctively choose to bring warmth. When someone feels alone, you feel drawn to stand beside them. You carry humanity inside you like an unspoken responsibility. But this gift is not always easy. Caring deeply can feel heavy. There are days when you give more than you receive, days when your gentleness is misunderstood, days when you feel unseen even as you quietly hold others together. Yet the Buddha taught that genuine compassion is the highest form of strength. It softens suffering. It heals unseen wounds. It turns pain into understanding and understanding into connection. Your compassion is not passive. It moves you to speak gently, act kindly, and stay present, even when it costs you emotionally. It shapes your choices, your relationships, and the way you walk through the world. And from this courageous heart, this heart that loves without expectation, the next gift begins to rise, because there is a deeper power awakening now. As your inner awareness continues to expand, your way of speaking begins to transform. You no longer talk just to fill silence or gain approval. Every word you choose carries intention, honesty, and calm strength. In Buddhism, this is known as mindful speech, communication guided by awareness instead of impulse. And when you speak from this place, something remarkable happens. People truly listen, not because you speak loudly, but because your words carry truth. It can be a simple comment, a gentle observation, or a sincere line shared in passing. Yet somehow your words land deeply in others. They stir forgotten feelings, spark hidden questions, or shine light on truths someone has been avoiding. You've developed the rare ability to take complex ideas and translate them into something human, relatable, and emotionally real. You speak to the mind and the heart at the same time, effortlessly, without trying to impress. Clarity just moves through you now. You don't need a stage, a title, or a spotlight. You may not even think of yourself as someone who influences others, but pay attention to what happens around you. The way someone pauses after hearing you. Your voice doesn't entertain, it illuminates. It opens windows in places people didn't know were closed. The Buddha taught that right speech is not used to control, but to liberate, and that is the power flowing through you. Your voice has become a doorway rather than a weapon. Your words soothe instead of wound. They guide instead of push. And often, you don't even realize the impact you've made until much later, if ever. But remember this, everything you speak aloud is only one side of the gift. What emerges next does not rely on talking at all. It lives in silence. It expresses itself in presence. People feel it the moment you walk into a room or when you simply sit beside them without saying a single word. It is not something you perform. It is something you radiate. And now we move into the deeper gifts, the ones that operate beyond speech, beyond thought, beyond explanation. The gifts carried not by your voice, but by your presence. There comes a moment when something powerful stirs inside you, a quiet but undeniable shift. You no longer want to repeat life as it has always been. You feel an inner nudge to reshape, reinvent, and reimagine your world. And the truth behind it is beautifully simple. You've awakened to impermanence. You've realized that nothing in life is meant to stay frozen. Suddenly, old routines feel too small, and familiar patterns feel like they no longer match the soul you're becoming. You're not just adapting to life anymore. You're influencing it. You're changing how you think, how you express, how you create. A new way of living begins forming inside you. A new way of teaching, guiding, or helping others takes shape. You may not use words like inventive or original to describe yourself, yet your presence naturally brings renewal wherever you go. While many cling tightly, to what is safe and familiar, you've learned the strength of letting go. You can sense when something no longer nourishes growth, even if it once did. You question traditions that have lost their soul. You walk away from patterns that keep people asleep. This isn't restlessness, it's awakening. Buddhism calls this right effort, the inner fire that moves consciousness forward, instead of letting it settle into stagnation. Your ideas might not be perfectly formed. They might arrive suddenly, sparked by insight rather than logic, but they move things. They open doors. They unsettle comfort, not to create chaos, but to invite fresh wisdom in. You don't wait for permission. You don't ask whether you're ready. You trust the whisper that asks a deeper question. What is the next step for human growth? Some people may not understand this quiet innovation. You don't just improve what exists. You recognize when something must be released entirely, not out of rebellion, but out of love, out of respect for life's natural need to renew itself. Your spirit simply refuses to stagnate. You feel uneasy anywhere that creativity, curiosity, or growth has stopped flowing. But this awakening creative force needs a guide, something pure, something steady, something sacred, not ego, not ambition, something deeper. And that is where the sixth gift begins to rise. There comes a point when something solid forms inside you, an inner line you can no longer cross. You simply cannot live anything that feels false. Buddhism calls this right view, the ability to see life without illusions, without pretending, without wearing masks to survive. Even when agreeing would be easier, even when staying quiet would keep peace. You choose truth. You choose your own voice. Your loyalty has shifted too. It's no longer tied to pleasing people, following trends, or living according to expectations built decades ago. Your devotion is to what feels real in your soul. When something contradicts that inner knowing, you step away. When something feels wrong, you decline it, even if it costs comfort, approval, or connection. Because you've learned the hardest truth of all. Any acceptance that requires you to shrink is never worth the price. And yes, this path can feel lonely at times. Standing fully in yourself may create empty spaces where certain people once stood. But ask yourself honestly, would you ever trade authenticity just to belong somewhere that doesn't fit who you are anymore? Would you dim your inner light to keep a seat at someone else's table? Deep down, you already know the answer. The Buddha taught that clinging breeds suffering, and you have finally let go of the need to be liked. What you carry now is integrity, so steady it becomes a mirror. You don't preach, you don't force, you don't judge. Simply by being unhidden, your presence makes others question the masks they wear. You show, through your choices, that it is possible to be kind without betraying yourself, gentle without being silent, strong without being harsh. Your authenticity frees you, and in doing so, it quietly liberates everyone who crosses your path. And all of these gifts, your awakened awareness, your courage, your compassion, your clarifying vision, your creative energy, and this unshakable truthfulness have been leading you toward one final transformation, a last awakening that brings everything together. Because the seventh gift is the heart of your entire journey. And once it reveals itself, everything you've lived through will finally make sense. By the time you reach this stage of life, a profound truth begins to rise from within. You were never walking this path alone. Even in the seasons when loneliness pressed against your chest, even when you felt separate, unseen, or misunderstood, something deeper was quietly connecting you to everything around you. Buddhism teaches interbeing, Nothing exists in isolation. Every breath, every choice, every moment of presence sends ripples into the lives of others. Your existence has touched more hearts than you will ever know. You were not born to simply blend into the world. You were born to help soften it, to embody a gentler way of living, to remind others through your own unfolding that consciousness is shared and awakening is contagious. Your purpose was never tied to recognition, stages, or applause. It has always been quieter, more intimate, more transformative. The Buddha taught that true awakening is not performed, it radiates. It reveals itself through how you listen, how you love, how you linger with suffering without letting it turn you bitter. And that is how you teach now, through your presence alone. When you live your truth fully, others remember theirs. When you choose compassion in moments where resentment would be easier, you stir something ancient within those who witness you. When you speak with honesty, when you stand with integrity, when you walk away from what no longer aligns, you gently loosen the fear that holds the collective heart captive. You pass on awakening not by instruction, but by example, by simply existing as you are. Yet this gift can feel heavy at times. There are days when it feels like being a lighthouse, steady, glowing, guiding, often unnoticed. But light does not shine for praise. It shines because illumination is its nature. It shines because without it, the world would be a shade darker. This awakening you carry is not only for others, it is for you as well. With each courageous choice, each quiet boundary, each moment of honesty, you awaken further into your own truth. The final gift does not arrive in a burst of enlightenment. It unfolds quietly through the life you are courageously choosing every day. You remain loyal not to acceptance, but to purpose, not to comfort, but to truth, not to ego, but to the deeper reason you came into this world. And because of that, something extraordinary happens in your wake. Someone sees more clearly, feels more deeply, becomes a little more conscious. They may never tell you, they may never realize it fully, but the ripple has already begun, and it will continue long after your footsteps fade. So now, after everything you've heard, let me ask you something softly, yet truthfully. Do you finally see who you are? You are not just another passing figure in a crowded world. You are not a leftover role, a fading number, or a life society has carelessly mislabeled as finished. Buddhism teaches that awakening does not decline with age, it deepens. And what you carry now is anything but ordinary. You have become a break in old patterns, a mind that sees through illusion, a presence that quietly shows others a completely different way of living, simply by being real. Yes, this path has been difficult. It was never supposed to be easy. To see so clearly, to feel so intensely, to love so deeply, and to stand in truth so consistently, it drains you at times. Awareness can feel heavy. Compassion can ache in your bones. Integrity can leave you standing alone. Awakening does not promise comfort. It promises truth. But every challenge shaped you. Every wound opened you. Every lesson carved space inside you for these gifts to take root. You were not given clarity, compassion, courage, authenticity, creativity, and presence to decorate your life. You were given them to live your purpose. The world still needs you as you truly are, not the quiet version that shrinks for others' comfort, not the apologetic version that hides your truth, not the dimmed version that tries to blend in. The world needs your full presence, your wisdom, your fire, your empathy, your clarity, your light. So here is the real question. What will you do with what you now know? Awareness without action dissolves. Insight without embodiment disappears. The Buddha taught that understanding only becomes transformation when it is lived, when it shapes your choices, your voice, your boundaries, your steps. You were never meant to stay silent. You were never meant to wait for permission. You were meant to move, to inspire, to awaken, gently, quietly, courageously, wherever your life still touches others. So stop shrinking. Stop explaining yourself away. Stop dimming what was never meant to be small. Your presence is not a burden. It is a blessing. It is a lantern in a dim world. It is exactly what someone, somewhere, needs. And if there ever comes a day when you forget this, come back here. Listen again. Remember who you are and why you came. This is not the end of your story. This is your awakening. If this message stirred something deep within you, subscribe to Zen Buddhism. So each time you return, you rise a little higher, walk a little clearer, and remember your true purpose with strength and serenity.